good afternoon. My name is Rosa Esquivel, and I'm with Pilsen Alliance. And today we have a guest. She is part of our youth committee, and I'm going to let her introduce herself. So can you tell us your name and what do you do?
My name is Karla. I was born and raised in Pilsen, and I'm a community organizer.
Okay. So I want to ask you. I want to get the jump perspective on a lot of the issues that are affecting our communities, right? Because I feel that a lot of the young people don't really understand about what affects them and when it comes to policies, right, that are happening in our communities of color. So let me ask you, how did you get involved in Pilsen Alliance?
So the way that I got involved in Pilsen Alliance was, like, I used to be someone who was always really vocal online. Like, I would always be on Facebook, like sharing things and talking about how gentrification was bad. And then, I would get into arguments with, like, a lot of people about that. I don't know, I'm pretty sure you know what that's about. And so, like, some people were like, well, you say all these things, but you don't really do anything about it, like, kind of like saying that I was, like, all talk and no action. And I was like, well, okay, well, now I'm going to do something. And
how did you learn about gentrification?
I don't really remember how, but, like, I started to notice, like, things changing, like, my family has always been, like, low income, working class. So whenever we would try to, like, look for other apartments, like, we would look and, rent was increasing, like, usually our budget was, like, $650 to, like, $700. And then, it's like all these were like 800, 900, things that we couldn't afford because, like, a lot of low-income families, like, they survive on minimum wage, survive check to check. And so I think it was probably online where I saw what gentrification meant. And then I, started to, like, follow different pages, and Pilsen Alliance was one of those pages. And so when those people called me out and kind of, like, like, try to say that I wasn't really doing anything, I was like, well, okay, well, now I'm going to do something, And so I, like, messaged Pilsen Alliance and was asking them if there's any way for me to get involved. I was, I think, like, either freshman or sophomore in high school, so I don't really remember. And so, like, I messaged them, and then, I met with, someone from Pilsen Alliance, and, just right away, like, they were so welcoming, and, I felt like, before I started organizing, I didn't really know what my purpose was. I didn't really know where I fit in. And I think, being able to talk about anti-gentrification, which was something I was really passionate about, was, like, super exciting to me. And I got invited to my first action, which was a rally about the 99 units over at Benito Juarez. And, like, they told me to speak, so it was, like, my first time speaking in front of a camera, in front of a crowd. So I was, like, super nervous. But, I think just, like, that motivation to, like, for me to talk about these things as, someone that is affected by gentrification, it was something that I really felt empowered by it.
So, as your experience as a high school student, did you feel that maybe some of your friends were affected by the issue of gentrification?
I mean, since I went to school at Walter Payton, which is, like, in the north side, like, there were a lot of students from different areas coming. And definitely it was a school where there was a lot of, like, middle class and upper class people. So, I mean, but even then, like, where Walter Payton is, it used to be, like, housing projects that were torn down. And I think definitely learning about the history of my school was something that, kind of opened my eyes. Like, gentrification isn't just in Pilsen, it's in other neighborhoods too. And, there was definitely students from, like, the south side who, like, were also like, yeah, gentrification is happening in my neighborhood too. And then, like, a lot of like, friends that I had at Juarez were, also, like, super interested in it. Like, they were very vocal about it too, because it is an issue that I guess sometimes people don't really see happening. Like, they're like, oh, development is something that we need, like, as you know, low-income people and, you know, communities that are driven by immigrants. And just, I don't think people, like, the way that it happens, like, people try to brand Pilsen as this, like, developing area. You know, we're going to bring more jobs, we're going to bring better housing, more modern restaurants, things like that. But, like, they kind of hide the fact that this is going to displace the people, who need it, right? Like, we're not going to be the ones that benefit from development. It's going to be, like, the people who can afford it, which is obviously not us.
Exactly. So, it also happens that with gentrification, there is also the population of the schools, which it was interesting to me because as in now, a lot of people, one of the arguments that is used for gentrification is that it's going to make the schools better because people are paying more taxes. But that's not how it works.
Right.
Because it's basically, the money comes basically per each student, right? So if we have less students, we're going to lose money in the schools, right? So, and we still like money for resources, you know. So what do you think, how does gentrification relate into, like, let's say, how students, like, their mental health and emotional health as well?
Well, I think, you know, something that I think about, like, a lot is when these families are getting displaced, they have to, like, move somewhere else. And, you know, and sometimes it's not really an option to transfer out of these schools, especially, like, here in, like, Pilsen, when they're trying to make, like, schools like Orozco, like, all gifted, which is something that's not accessible to everybody, right? And so I think that at that point, you know, a lot of things can happen. Like, how are you going to get to school, you know? So I think sometimes it's easier to, like, not go to school than to have to take that bus or that train that takes, like, 45 minutes to, like, an hour, like, however, you know, time. And just, like, you know, like, we can't really, like, ignore the fact that there is gang violence, right? And just passing through different neighborhoods, looking, if you look a certain type of way, then, you know, that's going to attract attention to you. And just, you know, I think now with a lot of things that have been happening to, like, Black and brown women, like, you know, a lot of us don't feel safe, you know, walking alone. And then a lot of times, you know, in order to go, like, to good colleges or, like, good high schools, like, we have to be involved in all these extracurricular activities, which, you know, end late, especially in the winter when it's already dark. And just, you know, those things that I think a lot of people don't really think about, like transportation and just how much that costs, how much time that is, and just, like, where are you walking to, who are you walking with, are your parents able to, like, accompany you? Right, exactly. So I think those things that a lot of people don't really think that is affected by gentrification, but it's definitely, like, a reality for a lot of students who are, you know, part of the people who are being displaced and, like, having to move, like, really far away from, like, the schools that they want to go to, you know, because, you know, they deserve to be able to stay at the high school or, like, any school that they want to be at.
Yeah. So, if you want to be a part of the social justice movement with Pilsen Alliance, you can go and visit us at our office, which is located at 1744 West 18th Street. You can also contact us. You can call us at 312-243-5440, or you can also email us at, well, actually, you can send us a message through Facebook. I think that's the most reliable source that you can send us a message, so we can so you can get involved and start, you know, like Carlita here, start, you know, taking action on the things that matter in our communities. But also, I want to talk a little bit about you, right? Because you're a very smart young woman, and you're attending college. Where are you going to college again?
Columbia University in New York.
And you have a full scholarship.
Yeah.
Okay, that is amazing. So, also, you are a poet.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
You do poetry.
Yeah.
Is there, like, a favorite? A favorite, something that you wrote that it really you know?
Yeah. So I was in Louder Than a Bomb my senior year, which was last year, and I wrote this poem about gentrification, and I kind of used Pilsen as a metaphor for like a mother, and just like you know, like I said that I'm like Pilsen's baby, and I came from this womb, right? And you know, I was talking about how kind of like the developers and just the people who contribute to gentrification are kind of, you know, taking those babies away from like its mother, and how, you know, it's these like usually, I mean, it's gentrification is a class and race issue, but I think that usually it's like these white men with so much power and money taking away like these brown babies from, you know, its mother. And, you know, I really, you know, I don't remember it that much anymore, but I think it's, you know, I think it was a poem that was really mine, and like it was really something that I wanted to share with like all the community, because I know that a lot of people feel like it, you know, I feel like Pilsen is, you know, like my home. It's like I've lived here all my life, and you know, like I said,
you don't know another place.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, I'm like low income, so I never really got to travel outside of Chicago, like let alone, you know, Pilsen. And I've only been outside the country like 2 times before going off to college. I think it's just somewhere that I'm always missing, you know, like whenever I'm at school, like I try to have all these things that remind me of Pilsen, you know, like I have my necklace, I want to get a tattoo. I just really, you know, it's just a place that I think is so unique in a way that a lot of other neighborhoods aren't. And, you know, it's just like a place that you can walk from one side, like one point of Pilsen to the other in like less than 30 minutes. It's something like, you know, it's just everybody knows everybody, and, you know, there are conflicts within folks, but I think that it's a neighborhood that, you know, is so beautiful.
It's driven. It's yes. So I came to live in Pilsen in 2004, and I just fell in love with Pilsen, the culture, the food, the tacos. So I understand, you know, where you're coming from. Also, as you know, right now we had elections. We have a new mayor, a new alderman in the 25th ward as well. I just wanna feel your perspective, you know, as a young person, as somebody that is involved in all the issues and have been affected by a lot of these issues. I would like to just get a sense of how you feel. How are you feeling about the elections? How do you feel? Are you feeling hopeful? Are you feeling a little bit distrustful? How do you feel?
I mean, I think I feel everything, you know. I do feel very hopeful. I think that there are a lot of amazing women that got elected into office who are like really amazing organizers, who have been fighting for their communities, you know, who didn't even need the seat in order to like be doing things, right? And you know, Byron is someone who I've worked with in the past.
As a director of Pilsen Alliance.
Like he's the one I talk to and everything, and, you know, like but at the same time, like I do know that these seats of power can, you know, mess with people and the way that they handle things. So I do think that I'm gonna be someone that sticks with my values, and I'm not gonna let you know, maybe I trusted like whoever, like, you know, I'm not saying that I don't trust anybody, but like whoever is at the city council now and what they do and like the things that they say, like I will make sure that what they say is in accordance to like what I think, and if it's not, then I'm gonna call them out just as I called anybody out, right? Because this isn't about
is that a threat? Nah, I'm just kidding.
And yeah, like, you know, like you know, just as how I would call out Danny Solis for like the things that he's done in the past is the same way that I would, you know, kind of call out whoever, or hold accountable to whoever is doing the wrongdoings if they do, you know.
I think one of the amazing things is that the way I feel is that they're definitely more approachable, and their policies are like way more progressive than the people that were there before. So I feel really hopeful about the new leadership, and you know the new policies that we've been working on, right? Such as lift the ban for rent control, abolition of ICE. What else did we work on? Immigration issues, housing issues, education, elected school board, which today they all stepped down.
I know, I saw.
All the appointed school board, they all stepped down, which I think, I don't know, I'm feeling a little hopeful, and hopefully they're replaced with folks that really care about like equality in the schools, like equity, good education, and hopefully we have people that can identify with us, right? Because as in right now, the people that were there is a bunch of rich people, and they don't know what's the experience in the schools, in the CPS schools, because all their kids go to private schools, right? So I actually went to the Board of Education to advocate, like I think it was like a year ago, and I was very a little bit upset because there was parents that were crying because their special education was going to be taken from their schools, like money, resources from the special education program, and the way they were not listening, they were not talking to the parents. It was just very cold. Like you can tell, like you can feel the vibe. It was very bad. So and it just felt like they were not paying attention, and the parents were crying. It was very intense to see those parents. Like you couldn't help with their children too, because they had their special ed children in there, and we were like, we're just like, what are they thinking? Like why they don't listen? But it's I guess it's all their interests, corporations' interests, and but as in right now, they all step down today, and let's see what happens next. So, what are other issues that you worked for in the past?
I've done stuff with No Cop Academy, which is the initiative to kind of get the $95 million and more money, because it's not just $95 million, but it's even more money than that, to kind of get prevented from building, because I think a lot of the argument was that it's going to bring jobs and it's going to bring resources to Garfield Park, which, is a community that needs resources. But, like we, as a campaign, don't think that this Cop Academy is going to be, kind of like what brings in resources, right? Because, it's just going to police, like this Black community that, and how police and kind of like resident stuff is really tensionful, and I don't think that it's a good step to kind of resolve those, issues. Yes. Like, I don't think that bringing more cops, because statistically, if you're around cops, it's much like you have a higher rate of, or a higher chance of getting like arrested or getting brutalized, as we know, like cops love to do. And it's, I think it's a campaign that has connected me with a lot of Black and brown youth, not just from Pilsen, but like from all over Chicago, that I wouldn't have met otherwise. Yeah. Yes. And I think it's it's a beautiful thing to see like all these Black and brown people, especially women and femmes, advocate for their communities and kind of stand in solidarity with folks from Garfield Park. And I think it's it's just like a beautiful campaign, and there's a lot of work to do around policing, and that's a whole nother thing. But yeah.
What do you think? So what do you think about police accountability? Like, so there's a campaign that we supported at Pilsen. We're still supporting at Pilsen Alliance, which is CPAC, which is basically communities. What does it stand for? My brain went blank right now. But it's CPAC. It's basically a policy that will elect people from the community in order to have an oversight, for the police, but not appointed by any, by the mayor. Because as in right now, there is a version, but it's, we definitely doesn't work because, again, we have people that are appointed, and of course they're going to, be content or, so this is a policy that will keep police accountable, and it will be like people from the communities that will be elected to do that. What do you think about that solution?
Well, I support CPAC. There's a lot of folks that are working on that initiative that, I trust their word and I trust what they're doing. And I definitely think that it's something that's needed because, like you said, like the current system of how to hold police accountable is not working, I don't remember what the exact percentage is, but very few, reports of, police misconduct actually go through like whatever system is in place right now. And, obviously it hasn't been working. Police keep murdering, police keep, torturing, police keep, terrorizing like our communities. And I think it's time for, the communities to kind of like,
oversee them.
Yeah, oversee them and kind of say, what you're doing is wrong and you need to be held accountable. Because, very few times do we see any police getting any type of consequences for, the misconduct that they do. And I think, it's one step closer to, trying to
have justice.
Yeah, and kind of like, I mean, I don't know if I can say this, but like, I don't know if I can say this, but kind of, like abolishing like the police and bringing another system that's, actually going to help us and actually is going to respond and serve and protect as they're supposed to do,
Yes.
So I think it's definitely like something that's really needed, and it's a very like huge step that would allow the communities to kind of have like this oversight of what happens with accountability.
Yes. So again, if you want to get involved with Pilsen Alliance, you can go and visit us in our office, which is at 1744 West 18th Street, Chicago, Illinois 60608, or you can call us at 312-243-5440. You can send us a message to Facebook. If you want to get involved and, take action in the issues that you care about. So, as of right now, we also would like to invite you over to Mole de Mayo. We're going to be tabling there. If you want to learn about our issues and how you can get involved in our campaigns, again, you can go to Mole de Mayo in Pilsen, and you can look for our table there. And I just want to say thank you so much, Carlita, for being here with me today. And you're doing amazing.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate that all your time and your work that you are doing. And just thank you for being here with me.
Thank you.
Is there a final something that you want to say?
I want to say if any young people out there want to get involved, definitely reach out to Pilsen Alliance. We're really trying to mobilize young people in Pilsen and other neighboring neighborhoods and communities to do something about these issues, whether it be gentrification, immigration, police, whatever you want. Just get in touch with us.
So thank you so much. My name is Rosa Esquivel from Pilsen Alliance, and good afternoon, everybody. Thank you.